Vikings are out. Got
they're
disappointed
always
once
out.
again.
They're
I
always
know.
out.
Why does it surprise me?
I don't know.
Yeah, it shouldn't surprise you.
I was hopeful.
Yeah.
I was so hopeful.
Based on what were you hopeful?
Just wanting it.
Yeah, that's what it
Just
is.
wanting it. Let's be honest.
You couldn't watch our defense and think you had a shot at
Yeah.
beating any team
but-
that's legit.
Gather round. It's time for your Real Estate Chalk Talk with the Hittner Group at Coldwell Banker Burnett. Listen closely as your coaches discuss the culture, the economy, and the political scene, and how it affects your home and your real estate investments. Real Estate Chalk Talk is where you learn the science of buying and selling real estate and the art of living in your home. Your education begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It was
Yeah,
so
that
fun to watch
truly-
him come back and win.
that
It was
tru-
so fun.
It's all
Yep.
faith. That would have been an act of God.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So,
I think we're cursed.
Yeah. All right. So we're starting out actually.
Oh, what were my picks, Keith? Oh,
What-
thanks
oh,
for
yes,
asking.
yeah. Thanks for asking,
Thanks,
Calvin.
Thanks for asking. Bengals, Eagles.
Bengals, Eagles.
Ooh.
Okay.
Bengals to win the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Boy, that would be
Just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just so if everybody wants to put their bets down.
Going to
My
Vegas.
son's got me on a new betting app
Okay.
because I think it's fun.
Uh-huh.
So we're doing that. You have to pick two. It's kind of a fun. It's actually makes games very a lot more interesting. It's all on per player. Like Joe Burrow will pass over this many yards, or this receiver will catch this many yards. So it's very engaging. So you are very engaged.
So you're
in the
paying
game.
attention.
You're paying attention. So it's been pretty fun. So
Doesn't sound like that would move my agenda forward. So that's probably not something. I
it
do.
will when you make $50. That
Yeah.
changed your life,
Yeah, that's something I probably wouldn't.
especially
spend
right now.
Any of my time.
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
All right. Real estate.
Real estate.
Let's talk real estate.
Okay.
So we have the market is so normal. I can't even stand it. It is
The old normal?
the old normal. The old normal. Like the 20-year-old normal.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's a normal every year at over the holidays and into January, I would get the panic. The panic would set in. I'm never going to sell another house. Nobody wants to move. All of that stuff, because that's the time of the year
Yeah.
when people are just not thinking about it, right? I mean, they got the holidays right after the first of the year. They got the holiday bills coming due on the credit card, and they're just not thinking about it. And then as we move into right now, the playoffs really, and Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, then the first-time home buyers, the renters, the people who need to renew their lease. Their lease is coming up at the end of April or in May or June. They're thinking, I wonder if I want to re-up for this deal, or if I'm going to move to somewhere else and lease, or if I'm going to buy a house. So that kind of starts it with that activity. They make that decision because they've got, in most cases, have to give a notice, 60-day notice. So that activity starts in February when they start, milling around and going out and, picking away at stuff. But the conversation for that with us starts now. And we are starting to get a couple of those phone calls, where, I want my kid to buy something. That's usually how it comes with us, is I get a call from Dad. And what do you think my kid
Sound
could
familiar?
what do you think my kid could get into? And we're working with a guy now that he's gonna, just at the very beginning, and he's gonna give him a little bit of money, so he's got his down payment and stuff covered, and then he'll pay him back and move forward. But that moves the whole thing, starts to move forward.
Yeah.
Then they start out there poking around. Then pretty soon your move-up buyers, the diapers, they need a bigger house.
Yeah.
Mama popped a kid out, over the winter or late last year, and now they're, the kid has been in the cradle next to the bed, and now it needs its own room, and so just you start feeling that squeeze. As kids, middle-aged kids, middle schoolers and stuff, as they start growing, they get physically bigger, and their friends are physically bigger, and you just need more space.
Yep.
So that whole train is started right now, just as normal as can be. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful.
We are seeing, though, I mean, we saw it this week where I had two over this last week where we lost in multiple offers.
Kelvin, it's a good. You mentioned that, and
I was
I
shocked.
looked at the numbers.
Shocked.
And new properties on the market this week over year over year, of course, are up just a skosh. But from last week, they actually went down a little bit. You know, not much, but just it's down. Where
Interesting.
you would expect it to be building. Days on market are still about twice as long as it was last year.
Okay.
So the market,
What's average
Yeah.
days on market?
Well, we're at about a month and a half right now. Last
Oh,
year,
really? 40
yeah,
days on market?
yeah.
No kidding.
Yep. Last year we were at 0.6, I think it was. So we're 120.
Boy, so that seems like forever then. If you have a home to sell,
Yeah,
you're going to like, oh my gosh, this thing's forever. And
but
you're
very
probably going,
very
very traditional.
traditionally
Yep.
it's 60 days, 60 to 90 days.
Don't
is
you
nothing.
think that your industry, though, creates this bidding war, this whole thing? Because basically when somebody's going to make an offer, then the real estate agents send out to everybody and say, hey, we have an offer coming in if
Right.
you want. So they create this bidding war, and that's why
That's our
I don't-
job, Kel?
Right.
yeah, I know, but it's just
Yes,
It's-
and
it
we
was
do our job
frustrating.
very well.
well, it was frustrating because you're like, okay, good. They're going to get this house. They're so excited, and then all of a sudden, yep, 3 more offers came in, and we didn't get them. Like they're like,
You know what the key
I
is?
thought
though?
we were out of that.
The key of that is knowing when to do it, how to do it, and if you should do it, because it's different in all the price tiers. When you're at, like the first-time home buyer market where most new agents reside, right? The under 300, let's just say, very low end market. There's so many new agents in there, and that's where your first-time home buyers on. So you've got a lot of inexperience in there, and so it's a tumultuous market, a lot of turmoil in there, and people are not generally well schooled in how to react to things and what. So you get this kind of whipsaw going on in that lower end. That doesn't happen so much as the markets move up in price point. You've got a little more maturity usually in the agent and the buyer. You got a client who is seasoned. This isn't their first rodeo either. I mean, they've bought and sold a couple of houses by now, especially when you're living in a mansion like Tom.
Like yours?
Yeah, Tom is like a way up there.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 houses on the way up. He knows all about it, how to do it. And
So
it's
do you think
very-
realtors don't do that then on those bigger properties where they're shooting gunshot and everything out to say, hey, I know you looked at the house, come put an offer. We have an offer coming in. Do you think that's less in the higher price
Well,
points?
there's less
because,
people for one thing.
Okay.
So the communication can be more personal,
Okay.
just because you're dealing with fewer people.
That's a good point.
And who's real and who's not real.
Right. Yeah.
Based on the feedback and if you're like me, I'm a snoop, so I stalk the agent. I look when I have a showing or whatever it is. I check out the agent. I look up their production, how long they've been in the business, what company they're with, so I know who I'm dealing with, and you can tell a lot there about how they're going to react
Yep.
to different things if you've got some influence or not.
You just mentioned that multiple offers, you lost that. What are we talking about? Over asking, or is it just that they don't want as many demands to close?
Well, what have you seen?
Well, on ours, the 2, we were full price offers, asking for closing costs on
That's-
both.
And that's probably the kicker right there, because it's net the seller.
Yeah, they were willing to like get rid of some of that, do that, but they said they got offers that were above asking, that people came in a little bit higher.
A little bit,
So,
and probably with no closing costs.
no closing costs and come in $5,000 more, you probably got it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, something like that.
Yep.
So something, quite honestly, that you just go
Clean is good.
Yeah.
When you start loading it up with closing costs and all that, if it gets a little clunky at all, and you got another offer that's clean, you're going with clean.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
this is your Real Estate Chalk Talk. HittnerGroup.com, HITTNER Group, all one word.com, 612-627-8000. When we come back, we're going to listen to Tom's story about the waterfall in the front bedroom. Waterfall. When we went out to break, we said
Who's
that we're
here?
going to talk about Tom Ashad woke up, he heard dripping.
I did. I heard dripping. It was about 4 or 5 in the morning, and you hear that one thing the homeowners never want to hear, that drip, drip, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and there it was, coming down from the door onto my wood floors.
Did you first think it was like a sink or a shower or something?
I thought it was a shower, to
Yeah.
be honest with you. So we get up a little early in the household, and as we walk out, there's a pool on water on the wood, on the carpet into a bedroom, and then as we get in there more, It's inside of a closet, just coming down. I pulled the sheetrock. I'm pulling carpet. I'm trying to stop it. I go up on the roof. I'm shoveling snow, trying to figure out what's going on. Finally, you figure it, and I can't figure out why it stopped. To be honest with you. Maybe just get enough snow off the roof or something. But once we got that snow off.
Was it slushy up on the roof where you were shoveling it all?
No, it was weird. That's what I don't get. So for a while, I thought maybe there was a leak on a pipe. But there's no pipes up there.
Right.
Of course, I go flying in the attic to see what's going on, and there's no pipes where this leak is.
Was it soft in the attic? The sheetrock and everything was soft?
Squishy.
No, that's the weird. So I couldn't see any water where I was looking where the leak was. So I was like, this is weird. Well, water, it's just going to follow till it hits something, then go down.
And go down. So that closet, was it outside wall?
Yes,
okay.
That's where it sticks out in the front.
Yep.
Is that one room. And as we started getting into it, so all the insulation in the wall was wet.
Of course.
The 2x4s on the ground, or on the plywood, were wet.
Yeah.
So we got it to stop and got the insurance company in, and they got that fun little infrared thing they can show you, and they're like, oh, look, water. And we just, brand new roof, we moved in, brand new roof is on it. So it's just an ice dam. And it was bad. I mean, it was really bad. So I took care of some of it. But I had to call a company.
How do you take care of it? What do you say?
Yeah, I throw in my restaurant. So one of my friends, I sent it out to my prayer group, say, hey, I hate ice dams.
Right.
Pray I get through this. And the guy, one of them comes over and goes, here's what I'm dealing with. So he goes, just hook up your hose to the hot water to the wash machine, hook that up, and just slowly take little chunks out where your gutters are and stuff and get that out so at least the water can flow when it needs to. I said, okay, well, after doing that for about 6 hours and making little success out of that, called the company.
Yeah, who'd you call, Roof to Deck?
Roof to Deck's a sponsor of ours.
So we called them. So they're in and out within about 5 hours.
And they steam it?
Yeah, with the steamer. Just took the chunks out, got all the stuff. I was like, okay, that was good. I'm getting older. My body can't handle all that. It's a young man's game up on that roof. So
I had
did well.
one year where the water was so bad in the gutters, the ice, that it tore the gutters right off the house.
I just called my neighbor on that one. I looked up after you have an ice dam.
Now you're looking at everybody's house, right?
Called my neighbor. I said, you got to take care of that.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, because Sheila says, well, you should go up there and rake that roof off. I said, Sheila, it's 35 feet up, and it's winter.
And the snow isn't that deep. If I fall,
not doing
I'm going
that.
right through that.
Yeah, not doing
Well, my
that.
daughter's house, too, in Egan, the gutters are off, and they think it's kind of cool to see how the icicles almost touch the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that neat?
You understand, they're going to rip off, and you're going to have
Yep.
got some stuff going on there.
Yeah, as soon as they disconnect from the house, right now the roof is holding them. When it disconnects from the roof, all that weight is now on the gutter, and those little straps holding that gutter on. It'll tear them right off the house.
I know.
Yeah. Go to, if you have that issue, if you see that issue on your house, just go to Roof to Deck, and then they've got where their businesses are. There's one that's I don't even know what it's called, ice dam removal. But click on that, and they got steam trucks, and they go out. They're busy right now, obviously, and it might take them a little bit to get back to you, but they'll head out there and steam that right off for a few bucks.
But now so you get everything to stop, and you breathe that sigh of relief, right?
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I got to put it all back together.
Now you got to yeah, that's another phone call.
So can you tear everything apart before insurance comes? Or
I took pictures. Well, okay, you got to know who your agents are, so
right.
build that relationship.
Yep.
At least that's me. So I called my guy before. This is what I'm dealing with. He's like, all right, so take some pictures, do your stuff.
Yeah, open it up.
He goes, call this company. They'll come and do some stuff. But I'm like, I'm not waiting. So video on your phone. You can see the water just soaking into the carpet, acting like a sponge, and my wood floor now buckling a little bit. That's got to get ripped out. I'm like, whatever. Took the
Will
pictures.
that go back down that floor, or does it have to be replaced?
Some of it will. Some of it's got to get replaced.
Okay.
So over time, they put those mats on it, and they dry the whole thing out. Then you look at it.
Yeah.
Some of it's
Do they weight it
cracked.
when they do that? I mean, can you weight it?
Yeah, they put some stuff on it. Technology is awesome these days.
Yeah.
They just suck the moisture right out. But the problem is if it's already starting to crack when they put that on there, then it really starts to delaminate and do all sorts of stuff on your wood.
Well, it's a huge problem in the metro right now, and across all of the north, really, all the sweep, all the Midwest ice dams, and it causes a tremendous amount of problems And what you said, I said, what about venting? And you mentioned, if it was off air, that your vents were plugged.
Well, the snow has covered them. So once we found the vents, we uncovered all that, and
So that's the key, is that you can have a perfectly fine property, vented correctly, lots of insulation, but if the vents are covered so that it traps the warm air in,
Yep.
and you got just that little bit of heat there going up against your sheathing underneath your shingles, it'll melt that snow underneath. So on the top, when you're looking at it, oh, I got a nice snow cover on the house, no problem at all, but you got water running underneath, and it hits the edge that's hanging out over the side of the house. That's cold, and then it freezes. And it just starts building from there. And then as that water continues to run down, as your dam builds, and it is a dam, it just keeps pushing that liquid water further back up the roof until you are beyond then the ice dam, ice shield underneath your roof, and then you got an issue.
It's one of those things you just don't want to wake up to or see, because it's never just one thing you've got to take care of. There's always something else now. Where'd the water go?
Right.
Ripping things apart. What's that going to cost? Who do I call?
And it's
Who
a
do you
question
call?
we had some coming in our house one time. This was a couple years ago, and I've got ice dams on the house right now. And my wife says, "Get your butt out there and scrape some of that snow off of there." And I'm looking at them and go, "Well, I had water coming in the dining room a few years ago, and then I had them go up and I had them spray foam, and so I really wanted to super insulate that area so it stayed cold. But if your vents are plugged, it doesn't
matter.
It doesn't matter. But they had just a little bit of water coming in, from the ceiling and around the roof, but not much, and it stopped. I went up and scraped the roof quick, and then it did stop and dried out. Now you got me thinking, because their water got inside that wall.
Right?
I think it's full of mold.
Could be.
Full of mold.
Could be.
Just kidding. We should talk to Tom about flooring.
That's a good idea. So Tom comes on. Tom from TPM Flooring. How can people get a hold of you?
You can call 952-746-5157, or you can send us a message through our website at tpmflooring.com.
So we've been through a couple. We've been doing business together for 20 years
At least.
and I've seen you have different showrooms and different apparatuses, and you do a lot of commercial work, and the number of samples that are available just keep on growing exponentially.
Overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
right?
It's almost like I don't know how anyone can possibly choose. Honestly, how do
I
you
agree.
choose?
Well, yeah, you said number of showrooms, things like that. So you grow over time. You just go with the times. Well, everyone that I talked to over the last few years, when I ask, would you like me to come to you with the samples? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
So I changed all that up. So now we'll bring and make it very easy for people, and we'll bring samples to them. But what we do is we have that conversation before we show up. What are you looking to get done? How do you live in your house? Do you have pets? Do you have babies? What is truly happening? And then so when we show up, we show them products that would make sense.
Okay.
So you do some discovery before you
very
go
much
to the
so.
house. So you don't
Yep.
have to take 2 trucks full of stuff.
No, there's no
Come
need.
out to the semi, walk through, and
Well, go to any showroom, and you're going to see, after a while, like LVP is huge. Everybody wants
Yeah.
this luxury vinyl planking.
Right.
You start looking at it, it all starts to look the same
It
over time.
sure does.
All the mills are like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And what's really the difference is, what's the warranty, what's the coating on top, and what's it really look like? So everybody wants to go for the look. I like this look. Now, will it work in your house or not? And we do a lot of that stuff on the phones when we show up, and we're measuring, and so they can see the samples in their house, in their lighting, what's it really going to look like. People really like that a lot. So I don't need to bring the whole showroom. I bring what they're asking for, and obviously a little bit more just to make sure, so they have choices.
In the price point that they're.
Yeah, I always ask, do you have a budget? And of course, people don't want to tell you.
No,
because you
of course
think
not.
you're just going to say it's this much.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get it. I've been there.
Yeah. Okay, this is your Real Estate Chalk Talk. 612-627-8000. 612-627-8000. We come back, I want to talk about flooring in particular, the wood flooring or wood look-alike flooring, vinyl planking, whatever you want to call it, because there's a difference between real wood and plastic wood.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that when we come back. HITTNER Group, all one word. HittnerGroup.com, 612-627-8000. So we were talking with Tom Ashad from TPM Flooring, and he was talking about the mobile
Showroom.
So what does that mean? You go out there with a trailer or with a
No, with their vehicles.
bus, or what do you go out there?
We go out there with our vehicles as TP. Well, I just got another vehicle. So it may or may not say TPM flooring
Okay.
on it. So when you show up, it'll say TPM flooring.
All right.
We come with our lasers, our measuring, our tape measures, sketch the house where we're going to, bring the samples out there, talk with you, what makes sense. There's no pressure on this. There's no cost for me to come out there or my salespeople to come out and meet with you and talk with you. We give you the proposal. Then you're in your home nice and comfortable, no pressure. We walk off. If you want to do it, great. If you want to do it later, that's fine. And we've had people 6 months later go, "Okay, I think we're ready."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, let me come back out and revisit.
Right.
Let's get on the same page, and then let's go from there.
Let's talk about the artificial floors. I call them artificial floors. I mean, you got
Luxury vinyl.
okay. So you got wood.
Artificial.
It's not
got-
turf.
You guys put that plywood down there. What's happening?
So you got real wood,
Yes.
right? So that's like the standard that's been around for 200 years. Real wood,
Yes.
tongue and grooved, or maybe not tongue and grooved in some of the older homes, but real wood floors. Then I want something that looks like that, but doesn't cost like that.
And doesn't perform like that. So they want waterproof.
Okay.
So luxury vinyl
Is
planking.
that what it is?
Yeah. So you have to really look at. So they have laminates out there. They say they're waterproof, but
Uh-huh.
you look at the fine fine print on it. It is and it isn't.
Because they're really, it's plywood with some wood laminate on top.
Well,
It's pressed wood.
some of it is like
Okay.
with the laminates, right?
Okay.
So the top part, yeah, no big issue. But if it was installed wrong or the water goes somewhere else, your floors are trash. So, but luxury vinyl planking is, like you said, plastic, but a vinyl.
Okay.
And the core itself could be a vinyl core. It could be a composite core, but water's not going to mess
So
with
a
it.
composite core is what? What's a
Pressed
composite?
wood.
Is it?
Well, no, because if it was wood, it wouldn't be waterproof.
But you've got LVT siding that is.
I don't know
Waterproof?
siding. I gotta be honest with you.
Huh?
I don't know siding.
Okay, so there's siding that's a composite. That's
Yes.
wood and
With chemicals
resins
and all that other
and
stuff.
all
Yeah,
that
so
stuff.
yeah, kind of think like that.
All right.
But it's not. There's no wood anything in there.
Okay.
So when it does get wet, it doesn't, like with real wood floors. When it gets wet, it wants to swell up, right?
Right,
You
expand.
see cupping and you see all this stuff.
Like
with
in
LV
your
like in my house right
your
now.
house right
Yeah, I
now
took pictures of
from
it.
the ice dam.
It's awesome. But with LVP, you get water on it, just wipe it up. If it stays there for a day, wipe it up. It's not going to wreck your floor, but it acts like wood floor in a certain way where it's still going to scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to put the felt underneath all your chairs
Okay.
and tables and stuff like that. But cleaning it is pretty simple.
Right.
Mop it if you want to. Or
So how
Swiffer it
durable?
if
You said
want
it's going
to.
to scratch. How durable are those floors?
So they have aluminum oxide on top of it, a coating,
Mhm.
or a ceramic coating on it. So you can actually beat it up pretty well, and you won't see the scratches.
dog. If you got a
Yep.
big dog, it's not going to
Yep,
damage.
I've
the
had
floor.
that. But if you get, here's what I did. We go camping a lot in the family.
All right.
Bring the cooler in, set it down. Don't drag it. Because
Uh-huh.
why? There's sand underneath it.
Right.
Well, you got a cooler loaded with food or whatever you got in there. And my kid goes, "Oh, let me help you." And he pushed it across.
Yeah.
And there was this line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you can't get away from that, right? If you got rocks and sand and heavy weight going across it. But I've taken keys and just did a normal scratch. No issue. My dog did his thing. No issue.
On the case of your sand scratch, then can you buff that out or?
So
You
there's
stuck
ways
with
to hide it.
Okay.
So what you're seeing when that happens is the light reflecting from it.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, there's a line.
Yeah.
So what you do is you can put a filler, you can do certain things with it to kind of hide that, so when the light hits it, it doesn't reflect back and you don't see that scratch.
Okay.
So with the
Did
real
that
wood-
work? Did you do that?
Oh yeah,
Did it work?
yeah,
Really?
yeah. There's fun little tricks. Now if it's too deep, you can't do anything.
Okay.
You can maybe replace that board, which you can.
But it's like a real wood floor. I mean, that'll scratch too. And what do you do?
Yeah. So the big difference is one is it's less expensive
Mhm.
than wood floor. It is waterproof. The ones that say they're waterproof are waterproof. And it's pretty durable. It really is. And now to take it up, if there's an issue, easier than a wood floor to take up because it's not nailed down; it's clicked together and floating. So there's
Are
plus
they
and
all
minuses.
floating, or do you nail some down?
Not LVP. We can glue down.
Okay.
So commercially we do that, and in some houses, like in Edina, St. Louis Park, the third floor it looks like an attic, but they've made it a bedroom.
Uh huh.
Some of those floors are really wavy up there.
Okay.
So we can put down an underlayment, and then we'd glue down One, because LVP is really flexible. It'll go with your floor.
Oh, yeah,
or if I
look
click
for-
it together,
Yep.
it's going to be like a
Bouncy.
yeah, it's going to be really bouncy in there. So and they all handle the same, work the same. They look really good when we're
Does it look good? Okay.
Yeah,
was
I
curious
think
on
they
that.
do.
Let's talk about the bounce and the noise, because that's always been one thing that you go into some houses, and they're very nice houses, big houses, look great, and they got these floors, and some of them to me look like pressed wood with contact paper on it. And you walk across them, and they bounce, and they sound like
You feel it coming up with your foot, right?
yeah, and it's got this this noise, this echo when you walk. That sounds just as cheesy as can be.
Yes. Yeah. If it bounces like it's up in the air a little bit,
Uh-huh.
it means it's shifted a little bit and it's probably hanging up on a wall somewhere, and it's causing the pressure to then go up. That can be fixed.
Okay.
Pull the base, trim that edge, and it should go back. It should lay flat if it's installed properly. It type of thing. But you can tell when something's cheap on the floor.
Yes.
You just walk in and go,
Mm.
that doesn't look quite right.
Yeah.
A lot of these are inexpensive now,
Mm-hmm.
and they look really good. But what you're going to get on the warranties, they'll have the same look, and the price will go up depending on what they did with that product. So it might be a little bit thicker. The pad might be a little bit better. They might have a few more layers on top of it for scratching and things like that. But you got to remember, what you see is a picture
Mm-hmm.
that was laminated on top of this product,
Mm.
and then they put all these layers on top of it. And some of them, when you put your hand on it, you can feel like grain and
Yeah.
all that,
It
the
feels
embossing.
like one. Right.
So they've done really well over the years.
Do you have any problem with a floor like that on the wider planks or anything cupping? Because sometimes when people put a wide plank wood floor on, you get that cupping.
So you notice way back when, well, not way back when, probably 15 years ago, everybody went black
Mm-hmm.
and wide.
Yeah.
And that's when they found out, well, black shows everything,
Right.
and wide will cup. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So what they did is now it's maybe roughly 4 or 5 inches is kind of the
Max.
max you're seeing out there, and roughly 4 seems to be that. But everything's going back to normal, 2 1/4. Everybody wants it. Oak's coming back.
What about then the luxury vinyl tile?
Yep.
Where you've got these massive tiles.
So with the luxury, you don't have to worry about cupping
Okay.
at all.
'Cause it's
so that's
glued.
just real wood floor, or it's clicked together.
Okay.
It's stable.
Hmm.
Yeah, remember it's a stable product. It's not going to cup. It's not going to do any of that.
I see in the newer luxury homes less and less ceramic.
Okay.
I mean, more and more luxury vinyl.
Yes.
Just because there's so much more variety, and it just seems to perform better.
And maintenance is probably easier,
Yeah.
right?
So we did a house. It was probably a $2 million house, Credit River Township, and they had a number of young kids. It's a huge house, and they wanted a certain look, and I found it in the wood. I'm like, yeah, here you go. They're like, that's what I want,
Okay.
but I don't want wood.
Okay.
They wanted something waterproof. So you're talking probably 2,500 square feet of this
Wow.
product that's going to go in on just one level.
Wow.
And I went, okay, and we found it, and we put it in, and it looked gorgeous. But they're like, we want it everywhere because I don't want to worry about my kids getting it wet or
Yeah.
anything coming in and out with the pool. And said, okay. And when we put it in, that was probably 5 years ago, and it looks great still.
Looks just like
It's amazing.
What about commercial applications for this now? I mean,
Oh, it's everywhere.
is it?
It's everywhere. You're seeing it in schools. You're seeing it in break rooms and offices.
Yeah.
You're seeing it kind of. I'm doing one in Apple Valley now, brand new place. Everywhere is LVP, and the only place we're not doing it is in the bathrooms where it's ceramic tile.
Okay.
Everywhere else they're putting it.
Interesting.
That's probably 10,000 square feet of that.
Are you seeing then the price of wood floors come down? Because obviously demand must be coming
No,
down.
because some of the mills actually closed.
Oh,
the wood
okay.
mills closed, so the
Oh,
demand.
really?
Yeah, so it's not.
For the remaining demand, the ones that are left, they're busy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe some of the big ones closed down.
Why did they close down?
They couldn't get the product. Labor, trying to get the product over,
Okay.
all of that, they just couldn't do it. They just shut it down.
Wow.
It's got to be easier to train people to install on that too, as opposed to
You got a lot of DIYers now.
yeah.
So
But I mean, just for your crew that come and install for them to put in a wood floor. I mean, that's
yes.
You got to have a lot of training. You
Wood
gotta have
flooring
some skill
takes
set there.
5 times longer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, this is your real estate chalk talk. 612-627-8000. 612-627-8000. 1000. We're here with Tom Shaw, TPM Flooring. What's the number again, Tom?
952-746-5157.
Or tpmflooring.com.
Yes.
Check it out. You won't regret it.